Good morning, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Welcome to day 2 of the Lock-In Challenge. Before we start, a quick welcome to our two new members, Benjamin and Dawn. Great to have you both here. Welcome to Unshakable Entrepreneurs. Also, a quick call out that focus blocks are in the calendar today at 4 p.m. If you want to complete your high leverage inputs in a focused, accountability based environment, this is for you. Jump on in. It's for premium members. And if you want to join premium, it's still half off until the end of the year. So now is the time to lock in. So today, we're talking about the power of tiny actions. And as entrepreneurs, we hear this idea all the time. But here's why it actually works. So most entrepreneurs overestimate intensity and underestimate identity. They wait for a perfect week or energy or the circumstances, and their behavior changes in line with their internal mood, their external circumstances. That is not a fertile environment for consistent, predictable behavior. There is, however, a mechanism behind that, behind consistent outputs, and it's called the psycho-cybernetic loop. I'll give you my version. Identity creates behavior, behavior creates evidence, evidence stabilizes identity. Maxwell Maltz's version is identity, thoughts, feelings, actions, behavior reinforces the identity. And the thing about this loop, however you look at it, is it compounds incredibly quickly. This is actually supported across a lot of science. I'm going to call out two studies real quick. So Duke University showed that identity-linked actions automate. They actually automate in the brain faster than intention-based ones. And there was a research paper done by Wood and Neal that demonstrated that identity shifting into automaticity, so you can think of that as creating habits that then play on autopilot, is done far more reliably when they are context-stable behaviors as opposed to high intensity bursts. You don't have to understand what that means, but just understand that there is a lot of science that supports the idea that small, consistent, predictable behaviors compound and automate far faster than occasional high intensity. One tiny action every single day done from an identity congruence has more structural impact than one big action done from misalignment. Why? This is an interesting point. The subconscious responds to consistency, not volume. And that's important because they sound the same. When you repeat one clear signal every day, right, no fluctuations, the mind accepts it as normal. Neville Goddard would call this the state becoming natural. Think of it like tuning a frequency, right? One clear signal, I should say, calibrates the system. You are at this frequency. But if you jam 100 mixed signals in there, you never stabilize anything. That's the difference between consistency and volume. Business owners who understand this don't chase volume, they chase momentum. They generate it through consistent, predictable inputs. This is where the true compounding effect really takes place, right? So when you're choosing your identity in the morning, you're then expressing it through a measurable action during the day. You're actually doing three things which are really important at once. You're stabilizing that selector, that signal. This is the identity layer. You're eliminating the contradictory signals, which are the core driver between drift and fallback behavior. And you're teaching the nervous system that this identity is safe, normal, and expected, so it can then be automated, which is important. This is what leads to that feeling of effortless outputs. And the goal here becomes to be the person to whom it is normal. So you do all three of those things with our simple 3-step prompt. And understand this, right? The emotional weather may roll in and roll out. The fear, the nervousness, the anxiety, that's weather. The climate is the stable identity. So a single binary action executed daily carries far more weight and compounding in the long term than in one massive action done occasionally. Think of it like one 20-hour gym session versus an hour a day. The 20-hour gym session is going to lead to nothing but injury and incredible DOMs, but the 1 hour a day will lead to massively compounding results. The brain doesn't weigh the size of the input, it tracks the congruence and the frequency. So when your identity stays stable, it stays the same, and your behavior reinforces it, the subconscious then accepts it as truth and begins operating from it automatically. That's when the consistency becomes natural and the execution becomes predictable. And as you know, your business outputs reflect your inputs. So when the inputs are consistent, the outputs become stable. This is why we use the same simple 3-step structure every day. Declare, I am, identity. Because I am, I will. Take an action, a congruent binary input. This proves integration for the egoic mind. It's simple, precise, and high leverage. And understand this, to the brain, these are not tiny choices. These are simply identity congruent signatures. And identity signatures compound incredibly quickly. So, with that said, I'm also going to go ahead and post a screenshot of the proof log every single day. This will help keep us all publicly accountable. And if you notice that someone is getting close to cutoff, 12 p.m. UK, and their proof isn't logged yet, feel free to message them directly. I'll be doing this too. The community protects its standard, and we hold each other to that standard. We hold this line together. So day 2 begins. Go ahead and log your declaration in the morning, do your proof in the day, and log it here in the night. This is doing the single identity congruent input every day that will hold your signal clear and make those results automated. Let's have a great day.